the year 3078, Earth had changed. The sky was no longer blue, and the cities were surrounded by giant junkyards. Massive fields filled with broken machines, old spaceships, and alien trash. Earth had become the galaxy's dumping ground. Max lived in Junk Zone 47, one of the largest scrap fields in the northern zone. He was only 19, skinny but smart, and worked as a scavenger. Every day, Max searched the metal mountains for anything valuable, old parts, batteries, tools. He sold them in the black market to survive. One evening, the sky above the junkyard turned red. A strange light flickered in the clouds. Max looked up and saw something falling fast. It wasn't a meteor. It was a capsule, metallic, round, and glowing blue. Boom! The ground shook as the capsule crashed into the far corner of the junkyard. Max's heart raced. "That's not normal trash," he whispered to himself. Grabbing his scanner and flashlight, he ran toward the crash site. The air smelled like burned metal. Sparks flew from broken wires as he climbed over piles of scrap. When he reached the crash site, he stopped. His eyes widened. The capsule was half buried in the ground, steaming. It was about the size of a small car, with strange alien symbols glowing faintly on its surface. It looked old, damaged, but not dead. He slowly walked closer. The scanner beeped fast. "Life form detected," it said. Max froze. "Wait. What?" He placed his hand on the side of the capsule. Felt warm. There was a small window on one side, covered in dust and cracks. Max wiped it with his sleeve and looked inside. His breath caught in his throat. Inside was a girl. She looked around his age. Her skin was pale blue, her hair white like snow. She wore a silver suit torn at the shoulder, and she wasn't moving. But suddenly her fingers twitched. Her eyes opened, glowing soft purple. Max jumped back, but the girl didn't move again. She was alive, but weak. He knew he couldn't leave her there. Others would find her, and they wouldn't be kind. Using his toolkit, Max forced the capsule door open. The seal broke with a hiss. Cold steam poured out. The girl gasped, her chest rising quickly. Her eyes slowly turned toward him. "Don't let them find me," she whispered in a soft, broken voice. Then she fainted. Max didn't understand. Who was she? Why was she in a capsule? And who were they? He lifted her carefully. She was light, almost too light. As he carried her back to his workshop, he looked around nervously. The junkyard was quiet, but something in the air had changed. He reached his small shelter, a hidden place under a broken cargo ship. He placed the girl on a makeshift bed and checked her condition. No wounds, but her body glowed faintly in the dark. Suddenly, he heard a beep from his scanner. Incoming signal detected. Searching for lost cargo. Capsule ID, X9 Beta. Signal locked. Max's heart sank. Someone was looking for her. He turned off the scanner quickly and sat beside the capsule. He noticed a small metal tag on the side. Discarded unit. No value. Experimental. Discarded, Max whispered. They threw her away? Like garbage? But she didn't look dangerous. She looked scared and fragile. Suddenly, sirens began to echo in the distance. Max stood up, alarmed. Red lights flashed in the sky. Search ships. "They're here already," he whispered. "They're looking for her." The girl stirred in her sleep. Her hand twitched again. The lights around her body glowed brighter. Max stared in shock as his metal tools on the table began to float. Just slightly. "She's not normal," Max said, backing away. "But she's not a mistake either." Outside, the ships got closer. Inside, the alien girl began to whisper again in her sleep. A single word. "Home." Max took a deep breath. He had a choice to make. Run and save himself, or protect the strange girl from a world that had already thrown her away. He looked at her one more time. "I don't know who you are," he said quietly, "but I think you deserve a second chance." As he locked the workshop doors and powered down all signals, Max knew this was just the beginning. Something big had landed in Junk Zone 47, and the universe was already on its way. It started with a sound. Not a loud one, just a soft hum. Like an old machine waking up after years of sleep. Max opened his eyes. The girl was glowing again. She lay still on the metal bed in his hidden workshop. Her skin shimmered blue in the dark. Tiny sparks of light floated above her like fireflies. The hum grew louder, then stopped. Max leaned closer. Suddenly, her eyes shot open. Purple. Bright. Strange. She gasped and sat up fast, breathing hard, looking around like she was trapped. Max raised both hands. Hey, you're safe. It's okay. I'm not here to hurt you. The girl stared at him, confused. Then she looked down at her hands, flexed her fingers, and whispered, Where am I? You're on Earth, Max said gently. You crashed in a junkyard. I found your capsule. The girl blinked. Earth? That name is old. She tried to stand, but her legs were weak. Max helped her up and gave her water. She drank slowly, watching him like he was some strange creature. What's your name? Max asked. She paused, then shook her head. I don't remember. No name, he asked. Nothing at all? She closed her eyes. I remember cold, a white room, voices, pain, then darkness, then falling. Max sat down, thinking. I saw a tag on your capsule. It said, discarded and experimental. The girl didn't answer. After a few moments, she looked at the floating tools on the table. They were still moving slightly, like drawn to her energy. She raised her hand slowly. The tools rose higher, then dropped with a clank. Max stared. How did you do that? She looked down at her hand. I don't know. I just feel things. Then she said something strange. They called me broken. Who? Max asked. She looked at him. My makers. They made me for a reason. But I wasn't what they wanted. Max leaned forward. So they threw you away? She nodded. Outside, the wind howled across the junkyard. Max stood and peeked through a crack in the door. The searchlights were gone. For now. You can't stay here long, he said. They're already looking for you. The girl stood up fully now, her strength returning. Then we run. Max blinked. Wait. You want to come with me? She looked at him, calm but serious. You helped me. That means something. He hesitated. But I don't even know who you are. The girl tilted her head. Neither do I. Max gave a small laugh. Fair enough. She walked slowly around the room, touching objects like she was learning. Her fingers brushed a metal bird Max had made from scrap. It lit up briefly in her hand. You talk like you're not human, Max said. I'm not, she answered. Not fully. Max stared. So, what are you? She looked at him for a long time. I think I was made to fight, she said softly. But I never wanted to. Max stood up. Then maybe now's your chance to choose. Not what they made you, but who you want to be. The girl looked at him, a strange expression on her face. Like hope. Then the silence broke. Boom! The walls shook. Dust fell from the ceiling. A red light flashed on Max's scanner. Unmarked ship detected. Coordinates locked. They're back, Max said. The girl stepped forward. Then we go. Now. Max opened the secret tunnel beneath the workshop. It led into the deeper parts of the junkyard, dark, twisted places no one searched. As they entered the tunnel, Max turned to her. You still sure you trust me? The girl looked straight ahead. I don't trust anyone, but you didn't leave me behind. Max smiled slightly. That's a start. They disappeared into the shadows. Above them, a black ship hovered in the air. The surface was smooth and silent. On board, a masked figure watched a screen. Target signal lost. Scanning nearby life signs. The figure tapped a code. Bring her back. Or burn the zone. The junkyard was no longer just a place for trash. Now it was hiding a secret. A girl with powers even she didn't understand. And the hunters who would do anything to erase her. It was not the wind. The air shifted, but it wasn't nature. It was something artificial. Something watching. Deep inside the junkyard, Max and the alien girl, now called Lyra, moved through twisted metal paths and forgotten tunnels. Broken ship parts hung like bones. Pipes groaned. Rust fell like rain. Lyra looked up. Her purple eyes glowed softly in the dark. "They're close," she said. Max stopped. "How do you know?" "I feel them." Max checked his scanner. It blinked red. Unidentified signals. 6. Fast. Not human. He turned pale. "We need to move." But it was too late. A red beam swept across the tunnel entrance. We're beep, locked. Out of the shadows, they appeared, tall, silent figures in black armor, faces covered. No voices, no warning, just cold, perfect movement. The hunters had arrived. Max grabbed Lyra's hand. "Run!" They sprinted through the narrow maze, metal crashing behind them as the hunters followed, silent and deadly. Lyra's powers flickered. A floating crate exploded in blue sparks, blocking one of the hunters, but the rest kept coming. Max pulled Lyra into an old ventilation shaft. It was tight, dark, and wet. They crawled through as the sounds of heavy footsteps echoed around them. "We can't outrun them forever," Max said, breathing hard. "I'm not trying to run," Lyra replied. Max looked at her, confused. Her eyes were glowing brighter now. Suddenly, the metal around her shimmered, like it was alive. "I'm remembering things," she whispered. "Not faces, not names, but feelings, power, danger, control." Max crawled ahead. "Control. I was created to be controlled," she said. "But something went wrong. I wasn't obedient enough. So they erased me and sent me here like trash." "They didn't erase you," Max said. "They just woke up the wrong part." Outside the vent, a loud blast shook the junkyard. One of the hunters had found the shaft. "We need to split up," Max said. "No," Lyra said quickly. "They don't want you, just me. That's why I won't leave you." For a moment, Lyra said nothing. Then she smiled just a little. Max reached the surface first, pushing open a rusty gate that led to an abandoned hangar. Inside was a dark shape, massive and strange. It was an alien mech half buried under trash. Max stared. "What is that?" Lyra stepped forward slowly, eyes wide. "I think it was made for me." She placed her hand on the cold surface. The mech lit up. Blue lights crawled across its frame like veins. The floor vibrated. Energy pulsed through the room. The hunters reached the hangar entrance, but stopped. They didn't attack. They waited. Max whispered, "Why aren't they charging?" Lyra's voice was calm. "They know this machine. They fear it." Suddenly, her eyes widened. "I wasn't a soldier," she said. "I was a key for this." The mech's core opened. Inside was a glowing throne-like seat. Symbols lit up on the walls. Alien language Max couldn't read. "I remember this," she said. "This was part of a war. A secret war." A voice crackled through Max's scanner. "Subject X9 has activated the Guardian frame. Directive updated. Capture alive. Use extreme force." Max gripped a pipe as a weapon. "Looks like they're done waiting." The hunters moved in. One jumped, but before he could land, Lyra raised her hand, and the air itself bent. The hunter froze in midair, shaking. She closed her fist. Crash. The soldier hit the wall and didn't move again. The others charged. Max ran to help, but Lyra was already in motion. The mech's energy flowed into her. Her body hovered slightly above the ground, and sparks danced across her skin. She raised both hands. Boom! A wave of blue light blasted through the hangar. The hunters were thrown back like rag dolls. Silence. Max stared in awe. "You're not just a key. You're a weapon." Lyra dropped to the ground, breathing heavily. Her glow faded slightly. "I don't want to be a weapon," she said. "I know," Max replied. "But right now, Earth needs one." Suddenly, a sharp beeping sound echoed from Lyra's capsule. It was still nearby, half buried. They rushed over. Max brushed away the dirt. A screen was flashing. Lock sequence 2 of 3 complete. Next wake unit. 4 hours 18 minutes and 22 seconds. Lyra stared at it. "There's Another one, she whispered. Max looked at her. Another like you? I don't know, she said. But I wasn't the only one they threw away. They both stood silently as the stars above flickered, and somewhere, far out in space, something began moving toward Earth. The hunt wasn't over. It had just begun. Machines don't dream, but that night, the alien mech did. His heart pulsed with ancient energy. It remembered battles long forgotten. Planets turned to dust. And a voice, soft, scared, powerful, whispering from inside, I don't want to be used again. The voice was Lyra's. She stood inside the old hangar, staring at the glowing machine that had just saved her life. Its lights had dimmed, waiting, like it knew she would return. Max sat nearby, patching a wound on his arm. He had never seen power like this. Not in any human, not even in stories. He looked at Lyra. You okay? She nodded slowly. I don't think this was just a weapon. It was made for something more. Maybe protection. Max stood beside her. And you were made to control it? I wasn't supposed to, she said. They said I wasn't stable. That I had too much emotion. Too much feeling? Max asked. That doesn't sound like a flaw. To them it was, she replied. Soldiers aren't meant to cry. A low hum filled the air. The mech's chest opened again. A soft blue light glowed from within. Lyra stepped forward. I need to try, she whispered. Max grabbed her arm. Wait, what if it hurts you? She looked at him gently. It already did. But I need to know who I really am. She climbed into the core chamber. The door sealed behind her. Lights flickered, scanning her body. Her skin lit up, symbols glowing along her arms and face. She wasn't just part of the machine. She was the missing piece. Suddenly, flash, a memory struck her mind like lightning. Cold lab, alien scientists in masks, screams. Her arms were bound. They injected something into her veins. She's rejecting the code, one voice said. No, another said. She's rewriting it. Then darkness. Inside the mech, her energy synced. Blue veins of light stretched across the hangar floor, connecting broken wires, recharging ancient panels. Max stepped back. The whole building began to shake. She's doing something, he whispered. From inside, Lyra's voice echoed, calm, deep, and not entirely her own. Guardian frame system online. Pilot accepted. Status linked. The mech stood tall now. Alive. A silent giant waiting for command. Suddenly, alarms blared on Max's scanner. Unknown signal detected. 5 ships entering low orbit. He looked at the screen. Not human. Outside, the sky began to turn red again. Lyra stepped out of the mech. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. But now she looked stronger. Taller. More focused. I saw it, she said. Why they built me. Why they feared me. Max swallowed. What did you see? A war that hasn't started yet, she answered. Something worse than the hunters. Max frowned. Worse. She nodded. There's a species coming. A race that eats machines. They're not like my creators. They don't want to control. They want to erase. So why were you made? Lyra looked at the mech. To stop them. To hold the line. And the others like you? Max asked. The ones they discarded? Lyra's face darkened. We were prototypes. They planned to destroy all of us after the final version. But I escaped too early. The others? I don't know. Max looked at the capsule again. The countdown was ticking. 58 minutes and 12 seconds. We'll find them, he said. One by one. You're not alone now. Suddenly, a loud boom echoed from the north side of the junkyard. Flames. The hunters were back. And they weren't hiding anymore. Lyra turned toward the sound. They're not coming to capture me this time. They're here to erase all proof I existed. The mech's chest glowed, opening once more. She stepped toward it. Then let's show them I'm still here. Max reached for his tool belt. I'll cover you. Lyra looked back and gave a small smile. You already have. She stepped into the mech again. The entire hangar lit up like a sun. Outside, the hunters marched forward. Inside, the girl they threw away had just become a force they couldn't control. They wanted a perfect soldier. Instead, they created something far more dangerous. Something alive. Some truths are too big for planets. They drift in the silence between stars, waiting for someone brave or foolish enough to find them. Lyra was both. Since sinking with the alien mech, she hadn't slept. Not really. Every time she closed her eyes, pieces of her past came rushing back. Voices, symbols, pain, codes buried deep inside her brain. Max noticed it first. "You don't blink anymore," he said one morning, as the sun rose weakly through the smog. Lyra turned her glowing eyes toward him. "I don't think I need to." They were hiding in an abandoned satellite tower, buried deep inside the mountain trash zones. The mech was cloaked nearby, hidden under metal sheets and old ship parts. Max adjusted his headset, still picking up strange signals. "Something's trying to connect." Lyra nodded. "It's not human. Hostile. No. Curious." That's when the signal broke through. A soft, static-filled voice came from Max's comms. "Pilot X9. You survived." Max froze. "What was that?" Lyra's expression changed. Not fear, but recognition. "It's the archive," she whispered. "The what?" "A living AI. A copy of every alien project ever made. They tried to delete it. It hid itself in old satellites." The signal returned, clearer this time. "You were not the mistake, Lyra. You were the solution. They feared what you might become." Max leaned in. "Can it see us?" "I see everything." Suddenly, the old screens in the tower lit up. Alien symbols ran across them, forming patterns and diagrams Max didn't understand. Lyra stepped forward. "Tell me the truth. Why did they create me?" The voice paused, then said, "You were made to face the devourers. They're coming. Machines can't stop them. Flesh can't survive them. You are both." Max stepped back. "Devourers?" The AI responded, "A race from deep space. They consume technology, rewrite DNA. They don't conquer, they erase." Lyra stared at the screen. Images appeared. Massive ships shaped like black serpents eating moons, burning planets. The AI continued, "Your creators saw the threat. They built weapons. But their fear grew faster than their hope. You became too strong, too human." Max clenched his fists. "So instead of saving her, they dumped her like trash." "Yes," the AI replied. "Because she felt. Because she asked questions." Silence filled the room. Then Lyra said something Max didn't expect. "Where are the others like me?" The AI answered, "Scattered. Sleeping. Some destroyed. But one is still alive. And it's waking up." A new map appeared on the screen. A blinking dot. A location, far outside Earth's orbit, hidden in an asteroid field. Max leaned in. "We can reach that?" Lyra looked at him. "Not in time." Beep. Suddenly, alarms sounded. The tower shook. Max's scanner flashed. Unknown energy spike near atmosphere. Lyra ran outside. Above them, the sky split open, dark clouds forming a spiral. Lightning with no thunder. A breach. Max joined her, eyes wide. "Is that them?" She nodded. "It's not the hunters this time. It's something worse." The AI's voice returned, calm but serious. "You must prepare. The first of them is coming. A scout. If it finds you, Earth is next." Max looked at Lyra. "What do we do?" She turned toward the mech, already powering up, blue light shining through cracks in the metal. "We find the other like me," she said. "And we stop the scout before it lands." Max tightened his gear. "You're really not running anymore, huh?" Lyra looked at him with a strange softness. "Not when I have something worth staying for." Then she paused. "Max, if I lose control." "You won't. But if I do, I'll be there." They both stared at the sky as the first shadow entered Earth's orbit. A shape too smooth, too silent, too cold to be alive. Yet alive it was. The AI's final words echoed in their ears. She was never a failed experiment. She was our last defense. Now, she is your only hope. They built her to fight a war she never asked for. But now, the war had come looking for her. And Earth was no longer out of the way. The sky didn't break. It bent, quietly like glass under pressure, then tore in absolute silence. Max had never seen anything like it. Above the Earth, the stars flickered unnaturally. Not because they were dying, but because something was blocking them. A shape drifted into view. Smooth, silent, huge. Not a ship, not a creature. Something in between. Lyra stood on the edge of the cliff, her white hair waving in the cold wind. Her eyes glowed deep violet as the object came closer. "That's a scout," she whispered. "The first one." Max stared at it through his binoculars. "It's not scanning us. It's listening." Lyra nodded. "Looking for the signal I once gave off. The signal they used to track me. Can it hear you now?" "Yes," she said. "And it's coming." They didn't have hours. They had minutes. Max and Lyra rushed back to the hangar. The mech, her guardian frame, was already warming up. Lights pulsed like a heartbeat. His armor hummed softly, waiting. Max loaded the last of their tech. "You sure this thing can fight that?" Lyra didn't answer right away. She placed her hand on the mech's chest. "I don't know if it can," she said. "But I know I can't run anymore." She climbed inside. The ground shook. The mech's eyes lit up, matching Lyra's glow exactly. They weren't two beings anymore. They were one. Far above, the Devourer scout descended slowly. No engines, no fire, just falling. Like a predator, like a god. Inside the mech, Lyra's mind was splitting. Visions from other worlds filled her head. Planets screaming, stars swallowed, armies erased in seconds. All by this same race. Her creators had seen it coming. They didn't build her to lead. They built her to stand alone. She whispered inside the cockpit, "I was never meant to survive this." But Max's voice came through her comms. "You weren't made to survive it," he said. "You were made to stop it." Silence. Then a soft smile formed on her face. The scout reached the upper atmosphere. It unfolded slowly. 1,000 thin arms extended from its sides, scanning, searching, pulling information from the air. It spoke in a voice no human could hear. A message sent across space. Target confirmed. World, primitive. Primary threat, active. Started to open like a flower. Inside was a core of swirling black energy. It didn't need weapons. It was the weapon. Then Lyra arrived. The guardian frame launched into the sky, engines roaring like thunder. Blue flames ripped the clouds apart as she charged directly into the shadow above Earth. Max watched from the ground, standing by a satellite relay station. He could barely see her now, just a blue spark racing toward a nightmare. He clenched his fists. "Come back," he whispered. Above, Lyra screamed, not in fear, but in memory. "I remember now," she shouted into the void. "You killed all of them." The scout responded with silence and then fire. A massive beam shot out from its core. Lyra moved faster. She dodged, spun, and fired everything the mech had. Blue energy missiles, heat pulse cannons, magnetic spears, all useless. They passed through the creature like smoke. But then her mind shifted. She remembered the code. The one they feared she would learn. She accessed it. The mech changed shape. Wings expanded, armor sharpened. A second core opened. She wasn't just a pilot now. She was the command system itself. Lyra pushed forward, diving straight into the heart of the enemy. Max watched the sky light up, then go dark. "Lyra," he whispered. "Lyra, come in." No answer. Seconds felt like hours. Then, boom! A burst of pure blue energy exploded in the sky. The clouds split. The Devourer scout was falling, its body unraveling mid-air, turning into dust. And through the smoke, the guardian frame descended, burned, cracked, but still flying. Inside, Lyra gasped for breath. Blood ran from her nose. Her body trembled. The power had pushed her to the edge. But she was alive. Back on Earth, Max ran to the crash site. The mech landed with a thud, one leg collapsing. Max climbed up, opened the hatch. Lyra lay inside, eyes closed. "Hey!" he shouted. "Wake up!" She opened her eyes, slowly. "I stopped it," she said weakly. Max held her close. "Yeah, you did." She coughed, then smiled. "But it wasn't the only one." Max's face went pale. "What?" She pointed upward. The stars twinkled like before. But now, one of them blinked out. Then another. Then another. "They know I'm here," she whispered. "They're coming." This wasn't the final battle. It was the warning shot. The Devourers had heard Earth's voice, and Lyra's power had just made them listen. Before the war came, Lyra was just a discarded name, thrown away like broken code, labeled as trash. But now the universe knew her name, and feared it. The sky was still smoking from the Scouts' fall. Earth had won a battle, but not the war. Inside the broken Guardian frame, Lyra lay still, her body weak, her energy low. Max sat beside her in the wrecked cockpit, holding her hand. "You're burning up," he whispered. "You need rest." Lyra smiled faintly. "Rest later." She looked up at the sky. Stars blinked, not naturally but in patterns. They were moving. "They're almost here," she said. "The real ones." Max's voice cracked. "Then we run." "No," she said. "This time we fight." Hours later, in the underground safe zone, Max and a small team of human engineers worked to repair the Guardian frame. It was damaged beyond field repair, but something inside it kept humming. A faint pulse. A sign that it wasn't done yet. Max spoke to an old satellite AI still connected to the archive. "Is there any backup mech? A second Guardian?" "Negative," the AI replied. She was the only one ever fully activated. Max clenched his fists. "Then we build around her." He turned to the team. "She's not just our weapon. She's our symbol. Earth fights now." That night, Lyra stood outside alone, wrapped in a heat cloak. Her strength was returning slowly. Her powers flickered like stars trapped inside her body. Suddenly, a capsule landed nearby. But it wasn't a threat. It was another like her. A second girl, a different model, weak, frightened, still asleep in her cryobed. Max ran to her side. "Another survivor?" Lyra nodded, touching the capsule. "Her memory is sealed, just like mine was. What if she doesn't wake up in time?" Lyra looked at the sky. "She will." As the first wave of Devourer ships entered Earth's orbit, silence fell across the planet. All weapons were aimed upward. The humans were ready, not because they thought they could win, but because Lyra gave them something to believe in. She stepped onto the launch platform, standing in front of her restored Guardian frame. His body was half Earth-made now, rebuilt with human metal, painted with human fire. Max approached her. "We don't have a fleet. We don't have shields." She looked him in the eye. "We have choice, and I'm choosing not to disappear." She reached for his hand. "Thank you for not leaving me in that capsule." He smiled. "I didn't rescue you. You rescued me." The final battle was not loud. It started with a light, a beam from the lead Devourer ship, meant to erase Earth in one clean shot. Lyra rose into the sky alone. Her mech shined like a new star, stronger than before, powered not by her creator's code, but by her own will. She intercepted the beam midair. Boom! Shockwaves hit the mountains. The oceans rippled. But she didn't fall. She absorbed the energy. Inside the cockpit, her body glowed brighter than ever. She screamed, not in pain but in freedom. "This is my power, not yours." She fired back. Not just one beam, but a full burst of everything the mech had. The sky turned white. The Devourer ship cracked, split, burned, and then, silence. When Max found her in the crater, she was lying in the grass, eyes closed. He ran to her, panicking. "Lyra! No, 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 stay with me." She coughed and smiled. "You always worry too early," she whispered. He laughed, tears in his eyes. You did it. You saved Earth. She looked up at the stars. No, Earth saved me. The capsule that once marked her as worthless now stood in a museum. The word discarded had been burned off, replaced by a plaque. Lyra, the first flame of Earth's resistance. Not a weapon, not an accident, but a choice, because she was never just a tool, never just a failed experiment. She was life that chose to fight. She was never worthless. She was human enough to save us all.